Hi guys, it's Pepe Stalin here. You're welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, we're going to be making this beautiful ball dress without a hard net. Okay, as you can see how fluffy and fine it's looking, it doesn't have any hard net in it. Okay, so if this is what you're interested in, kindly keep on watching. If you're yet to subscribe to the channel, please just take a second and hit the subscribe button. And to my returning subscribers, thank you guys so much. So let's get right into it. Okay, so these are the fabrics I'll be working with. I have a doll face satin, some appliques, interfacing, and about 10 yards of net. So I'm making this dress for a 3-year-old. Okay, so here I folded my fabric for the front and the back. I'll be cutting both at the same time. So here I'm marking half of the shoulder measurements, came down by 0.75. For the neck width, I'm using 2 inches. Neck depth 1 inch for the back and 2.5 for the front neck depth. So from this point I'm going to mark 4.5, and then I'll connect it and then mark out the armhole curve. So from the shoulder line I'm going to mark 10 inches, which is the half length, and I'll be adding extra 1 inch for seam allowance. Okay, on this point I will mark the chest circumference divided by 4. Okay, and then I'm adding 1.5 for seam allowance, and I'm just going to mark the same thing all the way to the waistline. From this part I came up by 0.75, then I'm going to curve it off. For the back neckline, I'm going to make it a little bit more deeper. So from the shoulder line, I'm going to mark 7 inches. That's how deep I want it to be. And then I'm going to mark the zipper allowance, which is 1.5. And then I'm going to connect it just like so. And this is how it's going to be for the back, and this is the front. So I'll be cutting out the lining pieces for each of them. For the lower part of this dress, so I already folded my fabric. So what I did is I folded it just like so. Okay, and then I folded it again just like I illustrated with this paper. So for this part, which is going to be the radius, that's round the waist, I already marked my lines. I didn't know that the phone wasn't recording. So what I basically did is that from this point I measured 7 inches, and how I got the 7 inches is on the screen. So I just marked it all around, and from this point what you do is that you subtract your half length from the full length of the dress, and then I'm going to be subtracting about 2 inches. Okay, because the net is supposed to be longer than this satin. So I subtracted 2 inches and then I marked it here. So this is just going to be a half circle. I'll cut 2 of this. One will serve as the lining piece. Okay, so here what I have here is the net. I folded it. I have about 8 yards of net, and I'm going to be cutting the same length of the flare. Okay, just subtracted the half length from the full length, and then I'll add about 1 inch for seam allowance. Okay, remember I said that the net is supposed to be about 2 inches longer than the satin. That was why I reduced the length of the satin by 2 inches. But for this net we won't be doing that. Instead we're going to add extra 2 inches for 2 or 1 inch for seam allowance, and I'll be cutting 3 of this because it's going to be in 3 layers. Okay, so this is the 3 of them. The next thing I will do is to place them on each other just like so. This is one, and I'll place the second one and then the third one. And I'll go towards my machine and run a gather stitch and gather everything up. So here I'm done, and this is what it looks like. So next I'm going to measure this to be sure that it's up to the waist circumference. Okay, if it's not, just going to adjust it to get the accurate waist circumference. So for this flay, this is the flay for the main fabric, the one we'll be using for the main fabric. Okay, from this point, from the waistline, I'll come down by 2 inches. From these 2 inches, if you measure it to this length, is 11 inches. I'm going to divide this 11 inches into half to make it 5.5. So on this 2 inches mark, I will mark it all around the waist circumference, and I'll also mark the second line as well. So I'm going to cut 2 different layers of net. One is going to measure 11.5 inches and the second will be 5.5. Okay, so this is the net I'll be using. Okay, so first I'm going to cut the one for 11 inches length. And for the second layer is going to be 5.5. okay, 5.5 inches long. So I'll go and gather both the other one and this one. I'll gather them separately. Okay, so this is it when I'm done. Okay, this is the shorter one. I've gathered it up, so I'll be placing it on this line. I'll go and stitch it down all to this other end. Okay, and for the longer one, that's the 11 inches on, this is it here. I've also gathered it up. I'll go and stitch it on this second line. So here is it when I'm done. Okay, this is the first one and the second one. Okay, so if you have enough net, you can form another line in between. The fuller the better. Okay, so here I've also gone ahead to trim it down. Now I'm going to place the main one on top, and this one I'll go and stitch it on the waist line. Okay, to hold it in place. So here it is. I'm done with this, and this is what it looks like on the inside. I've also gone ahead to weave the edge of this lining in the dollface satin. So here I'm just trying to measure. I'm subtracting the half length to get the full length of the dress. Okay, before trimming it down. So when you're trimming it, do this carefully. Okay, you have to trim it carefully to get to give you an even length. Okay, so that's basically it for the lower part of this dress. So moving on to the bodice, I already gone ahead to cut out the lining pieces for the front and the back, and also added my interfacing. I'm going to place this right side facing each other, and I will stitch the neckline with 1/2 inch and also the armhole, and I will do the same for the back as well. Okay, so here I've gone ahead to do that, and the next thing I'm going to do now is to trim down the seam allowance and notch all the curved edges. Okay, so I'm going to turn this inside out, and I'll go and give it a very good press. So here I've ironed everything out, so I'm going to place this right sides facing each other, and I'm going to go and join it on the shoulder. Okay, so the first thing I will do is to turn this part out to the wrong side. Okay, and then I'm going to push the front piece inwards. Just watch what I'm doing here, you understand. And I'll push it out through this opening here, this shoulder, and I'll go and stitch it with 1/2 inch. I'll do the same for this other side. The only part I'm turning to the wrong side is the back one. I'm going to make sure that the zipper allowance is to the center and the armhole match. and pass the front just like so, and I'm going to stitch with 1/2 inch. This is it. When I'm done, you're just going to pull it out just like so, and then you're going to iron the shoulder line flat. So the next thing is to close up the side. I'm just going to hold the two of them right side facing each other just like so. Then I'll pick the lining and the main fabric. Okay, I'll go and stitch it with 1.5 seam allowance that we gave, making sure that this under armhole matches with each other. Okay, I will do this for this side and also for this other side as well. So here I've closed up the sides, and I will trim down the same allowance. Okay, and then I'll go and iron it. Always iron, it's very important. Makes your dress to look very nice. So this is what it looks like when I'm done. So next is to attach the net to the bodice. Okay, just going to hold this and notch the midpoint. Okay, I usually like to work on the net first before sewing the bodice. Okay, so I'm also going to fold this one and notch the midpoint, and then I will go and join this on the waistline with 1/2 inch. Okay, make sure to take out the lining piece. You're joining just the main fabric to the net. Okay, so here I've done that. See how beautiful the dress is already coming up. So turning it on the inside, I'm going to get the lining piece, and I'll also go and join it with 1/2 inch on this part. So this is it when I am done. This is what it looks like on the inside, all neatly sewn. Okay, so next is to go and finish up the zipper allowance. I'm just going to flip this way, and I'll go and stitch this down with 1/2 inch. Okay, before attaching the zipper, I also do this for this other side as well. Next is to close up this side and attach our zipper. So for the ruffles around the armhole, okay, so I have this net. It measures about 2 inches wide. You can make yours wider. Okay, so I'm just going to go and gather it up. Okay, just like you see me doing here. So they're in 2 layers. So I'm gathering it. I'm going to gather everything up. This is what I have when I'm done. I'm just going to hold this in twos, like in 2, and then I'm going to go and stitch it around the armhole. For a beginner, I'll advise you fix this ruffle before attaching the lower part of this dress. Okay, because it might be a little bit challenging. Okay, so I'm just going to go and stitch this. This is it when I'm done. I've already gone ahead. I've started attaching my appliques. So here I've also added pearls to the necks and every other thing. Our dress is almost ready except for one little thing, this bow. We're going to be fixing it to the back of the dress. So I fixed a pressing button to it, so we're just going to press it to the dress, and that is basically it. See how cute everything is looking and how fluffy this ball dress is looking. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please, if you're here to subscribe to my channel, please subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, and to my returning subscribers, thank you guys so much. See you guys in my next video. Bye.